Hey, Spaceman here, and today I'm going to tell you the tale of a bunch of idiots who decided to go have adventures in Dwarven Hawaii. So here we have Eastspire and the surrounding lands, where our intrepid adventurers have come to seek adventure. Speaking of which, why don't we meet these cats? So first up, we have Dareth Goldrune, a dragonborn who is extra spooky by virtue of being a revenant, which is a type of undead, and a warlock. Um, and he's a hexblade warlock, so he hits stuff with swords and does spooky shit. Next up is Lucan Pine Shadow. He's a tree man, a Sylvari, and he is a Eldritch Knight fighter. So another guy who does magic and hits stuff with swords. Doesn't talk much though, so maybe he'll fix that. We don't know. Here we have Lionel Johnson, a human Oath of Vengeance paladin. Other than that, I don't know much about him, other than maybe he got tired of dying in Dark Souls, so he came over to be an adventurer in D&D. Big guy here is Thalok Thorncaller Lakamutha. Yes, that's his whole name. He's a Goliath druid, and if you mess with nature, he will punch you a lot and probably, die because he's jacked as hell. Next guy is Gimdal Basley. He is a dwarven bard with a penchant for getting drunk and playing obnoxiously loud bagpipe music while drunk. This guy here is known only as Shard. He's a human rogue, sort of a vigilante in Eastspire, like the Daredevil, except, he's not a lawyer and he's not blind as far as I'm aware. But yeah, you get the point. And lastly, we have yours truly, a human ranger and slightly druid by the name of Arnold of Northreach. Uh, Hunts monsters, does kind of weird stuff. Definitely not related to this other guy at all whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for our crew. And let's get to our shenanigans. So, the party is gathered together by this mystical wizard bro who goes by the name of Yudo, and we're directed to meet at this tavern through, weird missives and such. So we do that, and it's a pretty dope ass tavern. Like, the drinks got like animated candy krakens in them and shit, and it's just awesome. But yeah, so we meet this dude there. So Yudo tells the group he wants to put together a sort of adventuring company, and he has this problem he wants us to help him deal with. Apparently, his spellbook has gone missing, and he wants us to look into that. So we look into that, and it turns out it was stolen by essentially like the nerdy fraternity of wizards, like the Revenge of the Nerds fraternity of wizard school, and so we go, you know, we go to them, get that book back, and there's weird shit all over the place. Like, it's raining blood, the walls are sprouting tentacles, and there's creatures from other dimensions running around because these idiots essentially broke all of the laws of magic. So we're trying to fix all this madness, and then we run into this spooky creature called a Nyogi, and it's ornery and it starts like throwing its babies at us. So we pull out our swords and we just start killing everything because, that's what adventurers do. So we fight the thing, defeat it, get all the magical shit to stop being weird and magical. And, we get Yudo's book back because we got skills to pay the bills. Unfortunately, Yudo's still a new player in town, so even though we're like, the beginnings of an adventuring company. Jobs are kind of in short supply, but he eventually finds this one from the city guard, which involves crawling around in the sewers for a while. Standard adventure stuff. So the city guard had a criminal informant who was supposed to deliver evidence, but he never showed up. So the guard naturally jumped to the conclusion that, he was murdered and most likely dumped in the sewers. So that's what we're doing down there. So we head down there and do that, and, we do our thing, kill the nasties, find the dead guy, and we start making our way back to the surface. Of course, since we're adventurers and we like to explore, we eventually stumble upon the black market. Most of us aren't really super interested, but, we make a mental note of it for later use. Except, of course, for the bard, who buys a bunch of shit. And among them, some sort of concoction of probably opium extract or something. And I bring it up because it's going to be important later. But anyway, moving on. So, Yudo decides that, hey, we're a proper adventuring group now, so we gotta come up with a name. So he invites us to meet at this very, very dwarven bar called the Stone Griffin. And so we do that. And, eventually we settle on the Guild of Adventurous Intent, or the Guy for short. So, we're all the Guy now, and that's pretty great. So now we're chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of the school, when a local celebrity comes to visit us, a dwarf by the name of Farak the Dirker. Now, we soon find out that Farak is kind of a big deal. He is a cleric advisor to the king, and he's an ordained champion of Grumbar. And, we get to talking to him. And eventually, he reveals that he's looking for a very esoteric brew that has a very strange method of brewing. And for some reason, part of the brewing process involves using a keg full of the booze to crush a goblin to death. So we gather our shit and we head up into the mountains, and we start fucking up goblins. However, according to Farak, the booze, the chest kicker ale, is best when it is used to murder a sufficiently strong goblin. So we eventually capture one, interrogate him, find out where his leader is, and we make our way to a small dwarven tomb that a bunch of goblins decided to nest in. And we figure Farak wouldn't be too happy about that, so we decide to take the initiative and, we'll go in, clear the place out, find the big leader, and crush him to death with a keg. So we head in to start doing that, and I guess our bard decided, trying to sneak through a dungeon was the best time to start playing obnoxious bagpipe music and do all of his drugs. So that happened, but we made it out of there. Dwarven Bard ended up, in his opium-fueled fervor, ran into a rune trap that was meant to keep grave robbers out, and he unfortunately met his demise. But, adventuring's dangerous, kids. Also, don't drink, opium in a dungeon. Why would you do that? So we crush the big goblin. We make our way back to the city and talk to Farak, and are, rewarded handsomely as adventurers should be. He also invites us to attend a dinner party within the halls of Mog Faldor, which is kind of a huge deal because that's in the inner parts of the city, which is normally restricted to dwarves and such. So yeah, like I said, big deal. And as a result, Yudo decides to call an emergency breakfast meeting. And that's where we last left our intrepid adventuring team. The Guy. So if you want to see us get up to some more shenanigans, like, subscribe, whatever. And feel free to check out episode 0 if you want to get a quick rundown on the setting and whatnot. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.